Hi, I'm Father Joseph Mary, and welcome back to A Simple Word, where we reflect on the gospel for the coming Sunday. There's a story told about Socrates, the great philosopher of ancient Greece. Even during his lifetime, Socrates was known as a man of incredible wisdom and integrity. One day, a somewhat brash young man came in search of Socrates, and finding him at home, he asked him, "O great Socrates, I come seeking wisdom." Recognizing the arrogance of the young, Socrates led the young man out of the house, down to the beach, and out into the ocean. When they were about chest deep in water, Socrates asked the young man, "What was it you wanted?" And the man replied, "O wise Socrates, I come seeking." Socrates grabbed him by the back of the head and thrust him under the water. The young man fought and struggled. Finally, Socrates pulled him up, and he repeated the same question. "What do you want?" "Wisdom, O great Socrates." Whoosh, back under the water he went. Socrates held him much longer this time, as the man thrashed under his grip. Finally, Socrates brought him back up, and he repeated the question a third time. "What are you seeking?" "I want wisdom." Under he went for a third time. Now the man was truly desperate. He couldn't breathe. He was fighting and panicking to get free. After what seemed an eternity, Socrates brought him back up, and he asked him again, "What do you want?" "Air," screamed the young man. "I want air." After a long moment, Socrates replied, "And when you seek after wisdom as desperately as you've just sought after air, wisdom you'll find." As we reflect on the gospel for the coming Sunday, Jesus lays out clearly for us the path to heaven. And that path is holiness. Which begs the question, how desperately do we strive after holiness? This Sunday's gospel is from Luke, who provides a condensed version of the Sermon on the Mount. So we're going to look at the fuller and richer version in Matthew's gospel. Because in his gospel, Jesus' words should act as a mirror, which we hold up before our own lives. But part of what we need to understand his words is we need a language lesson. The word blessed, for instance, which is used in each of the Beatitudes, is a very unique word. It's the Greek word makarios, which specifically describes the happiness of the gods. The way Jesus is using this word, this is the happiness of God. This is divine joy. And now he goes on to tell us in what true joy consists. Blessed are the poor in spirit. The Greeks had many words for poor, but the specific word used here is the word tochos, which describes absolute miserable poverty. It literally means to crouch or to cower. This describes the poverty which beats people to their knees. He continues, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." It's the Greek word penthos, which is used for mourning. It's a mourning for the dead, the kind of grief which brings an ache to our hearts. It's the sorrow which brings unrestrained tears to our eyes. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. When we hear the word meek today, we tend to think of someone who's spineless or cowardly, but that's not at all what the Greek word means. In Greek, praus meant the means between extremes, or as Aristotle called it, the golden mean. So it could be better translated as, blessed is the man who's always angry at the right time, and never angry when he shouldn't be. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. The fact is that very few of us know what it means to truly be hungry, to truly be thirsty. In the ancient world, men ate wheat only once a week. They were lucky. And in Palestine, the working man and the day laborer were never far from the borderline of actual starvation. Jesus is telling us, how much do you want holiness? Do you want it as much as a starving man wants food? As much as a man dying of thirst longs for water? He continues, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. The Greek word for mercy here is elimon, and it's a translation of the Aramaic word hesed. And it's a word that's really hard to translate, but it's the word used throughout the Old Testament to describe the Father's love. It literally means the ability to get inside the other person's skin until we can see things with his eyes, think things with his mind, feel things with his emotions. It's the deepest kind of mercy and compassion. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. The Greek word for pure is katharos, and it had many meanings. It was used for corn which had been sifted and cleansed of all the chaff, of an army that had been purged of cowardice. Katharos means to be completely and wholeheartedly focused on God and God alone. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Our lectionary says children of God, but the literal translation here is sons of God. The word translated as peace is the Greek irene, which is a translation of the Hebrew shalom. In Hebrew, peace was never merely the absence of conflict. Peace meant wholeness, integrity, completeness. And who is blessed here? It's the peacemakers, those who strive after peace, who seek to bring peace to others. And finally, Jesus ends this litany of blessedness with the words, blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness. Blessed are you when they insult you and reject you and utter every kind of evil against you because of me. Rejoice. Your reward will be great in heaven. Does this description of Jesus reflect your life? How many of you ever heard of the ermine? Not a German, an ermine. An ermine in the forest of Europe was a little animal known for his snow white fur. And he instinctively protects his white coat against anything that would soil it. But fur hunters take advantage of this unusual trait of the ermine. And so they don't set a snare to catch him, but instead they find his home, which is usually a cleft in a rock or a hollow in an old tree, and they smear the entrance and interior with grime. Then the hunters set the dogs loose to find and chase the ermine. And the frightened little animal, he flees towards home. But he doesn't go in because he sees the filth. Rather than soil his pure white coat, he's trapped by the dogs, and he's captured while preserving his purity. For the ermine, purity is more precious than life. When holiness becomes more important to us than everything else, then we'll find holiness. I'm Father Joseph Mary. Thanks for listening to A Simple Word. If you found this reflection helpful, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.